Internet! What up, Internet? What are you doing? What are you wearing? It must be Friday. Future Pants Friday, I think. I don't know. I don't even know half of the crap that I talk about has any bearing on anything in the world. Anyhow, what's going on with me this week? It's been super busy, a hectic week. So I didn't get the Wednesday video up this week, but this is a long 18-minute or so video, so buckle up, Buttercup. The 240-gallon Crystal Shrimp aquarium is getting some rescape. I know I talked last week at some point about doing a centerpiece in the 240. I want something in the middle. I'm tired of the middle being flat and both ends having some kind of scape to them. So basically, in the left-hand side of the tank, I had this big bulbitis tree thing that I've been growing that I kind of just threw over into the corner of the tank and just let it grow over the last, I don't know, I want to say 6 months. Is that the right? Is that the right number? It might be 6 months. It might be longer. It might be shorter. I don't know. I didn't write it down. On my calendar. But I've had it over there. It's on some ironwood, and I have another piece of ironwood. And of course, there it is falling over. But I have a little time lapse of me cleaning it up. I had it in one of my sumps, just keeping it seasoned, just keeping it properly seasoned, you know. And so I kind of have those two pieces of matching ironwood, so I've decided to use those along with some other stuff. Stay tuned to the end of the video to see the finished product. And of course, I'll be doing a video sometime this weekend, which I'll get an overall shot of the tank once it's looking a little bit better. I have an overall shot of the tank at the end of this video. But so the Ludwigia hedge has to take the hit here. That Ludwigia palustris, I'm probably saying that wrong. Someone's gonna tell me I'm an idiot for saying it wrong. But anyhow, it has to take the hit. It has to take the hit. There's just there's no way to do anything by just putting it on top or trying to squeeze it in there because of how tightly packed this is. As you guys know, this is my crystal shrimp tank. You can see them swimming all over the place. And whenever I do some extensive scaping in this tank, I normally get the question of, are you afraid of killing some of the shrimp? I don't know that I'm afraid of killing any of the shrimp. One or two of them might die. I don't, I don't know. I've never really known how to answer that question, but they do get out of the way. Sometimes when I pull out a ton of plants like this, I will get some shrimps mixed in on the plants. So to avoid them meeting the compost doom, what I will typically do is take the whole pile of plants and put them in my sump. Generally, right now, because I have two large tanks running at about the same water quality, water conditions, however you want to word it. I actually threw these into the sump on the 180, which I have not mentioned in any other videos, but I actually do have a couple of crystal shrimp living in the sump of the 180. Just hitchhikers, I guess. I guess you want to call them hitchhikers, and I just can't. I can't bring myself to get them out of there. They just seem like they're having so much fun in their own little sump there. So I've just left them in, just to let them do their thing down there. And so instead of composting those plants right away, those, like I said, those will go into the sump, and then if there happen to be any shrimp mixed in, I'll take the time when I go to pull those plants out of the sump. If I am going to sell them, then I'll sell them. If If I'm not, then I may just let them grow in the sump, or I'll take them out and compost them, send them on back to the earth, back to the lovely earth. As you can see here, at this point, I think this part of the video was actually shot last night on Thursday, but I started to just get really tired. Like I said, I've had a not a brutal week, just a hectic week, and I've been off and on, just finding myself getting really tired. Because you guys are my favorite, and y'all know that it's one of my favorite things to do is to throw in a crystal shrimp mosh pit. I had to throw it in here. I had an extra little up close crystal shrimp mosh pit video portion that I had to throw in here just because I know you guys like to see these guys rock out. Sadly, because of copyright reasons, I can't throw any death metal in. I can't play any Clutch. I can't play anything. I can't play anything that would be apropos to how the crystal shrimp like to rock out. I know they like to rock out. They're my crystal shrimp. I bred them. They listen to metal all the time. It's just what they do. Anyhow, with that ironwood that I had down in that sump, check out time lapse going fast. It did have it had some like Java moss and some crap stuck to it, and just a lot of schmutz. You see me here at some point. I'll pull out a brush, maybe not. I don't know if I got that in the video or not, but I basically the best brushes that I know to use to like clean up wood and stuff like that. I've used toothbrushes and plastic brushes and all sorts of stuff like that. But actually battery terminal cleaners, not the brass ones, but the stainless steel ones, I find those to be the best for whatever reason. I can't really tell you why, but they last and they actually do what they're gonna do. And then when they get gunked up, you just spray them out and they get cleaned up. But that's just a little tip from your boy. Just get some of those battery terminal brushes. It works really well for cleaning up rocks or ornaments or anything that you got. Obviously, if you have a SpongeBob SquarePants pineapple in your aquarium, it will probably scratch the enamel. If that is something that you like to have in your tank, I don't. In this little part of the video here, you can see how tall the Glosso will grow in the conditions where it's reaching for the light. It's almost 12 inches tall there, which is it's always interesting to get an opportunity to show some people what plants will do, even if they're in not an optimal condition. Typically speaking, they're going to keep growing. You know, it's very difficult. Realistically, it's very difficult for plants to just be killed, just to be murdered, the plants that we have on the planet now have been going through millions and millions and millions of years of evolution, and some of you may argue with me because you think God created them or whatever. That's fine. Have your beliefs. That's totally cool. Doesn't bother me at all. Do what you got to do. But even if we just take into account that every season on the earth, the crappy plants get beat out by the good plants. How about that? Let's not make this a God conversation. Let's just make this a standard issue conversation. Basically, the crappy plants die off, the good plants keep going, and they adapt to the situations at hand. On the earth, even if you're 10 years old, you probably have heard of droughts and things like that. Most plants have gone through those kinds of situations many times over. If not the actual plant now, it would be the ancestor of that plant that made the next plant. You get what I'm saying. But the Glosso here, reaching for the light, you can see. Oh, fuck, I just went on a weird rant. Anyhow, the Glosso here you can see is reaching up because even in a not so optimal situation, it'll still grow. It'll just grow weird, honestly. That's the best advice I can give you. Is that even advice? I don't even know if that's advice, but that's part of the explanation here I can give to most people that get discouraged by things not working as well as they wanted. Just keep working with the system. Keep working with the ecosystem and try and get things balanced for the way that you want to go. Trim your plants, replant them, adjust your lights, your light time, water conditions, blah blah blah. It sounds like a lot, but it's not a lot, because more often than not, the plants want to keep going. They want to keep reproducing and growing and stuff, and more often than not, they'll just adapt to the situation that you have, and they're not just going to die. More often than not, when plants have, quote, died, they're just adapting to the situation. I don't know, not recently, but a couple months ago, I had somebody, they planted their tank, and all their plants melted, and then they dug it up and threw them out because they all died. Don't do that. If plants melt off, generally speaking, it's because they've gone from one environment to a dramatically different environment. So they're going to pull back all the nutrients that they can from the existing plant body, I guess is what maybe you want to call it, and reproduce under the new conditions. So if you do plant new plants or move your plants around and all the leaves and everything melt and die off, have some patience. Wait. Pull out the dead stuff once it's kind of opaque and floppy and getting a little bit rotten. Pull that out. Leave the roots in. Let it do what's going to do. Give it a week. Give it 2 weeks. It'll sprout and grow. Recently, I've showed that off to my spouse, Victoria, who thought some of her flowers were dead, and ripped out half of the pot, threw them out, and I told her just to stick with it, and this is not a I told you so moment. This is nothing like that. But the half of the pot that I said just to leave it there and see what'll happen, guess what? It's growing back now because they think it's spring. It's warm. It's getting warm. As you can see here, I'm busting out the Dragonstone. Fuck it. I was going to do a different tank with the Dragonstone, but I don't care. I do what I want. I pay my bills. Do what I want. I do what I want, so I'm putting the Dragonstone in the crystal tank. The crystal 240 is getting more money put into it. It's almost like just taking a stack of bills out of my wallet and throwing them in there. But to those of you that do pay attention and have been watching this long, the Dragonstone was in the 180. It looked like shit in the 180, so I pulled it out. I don't know if I talked about it, but I did have plans of doing a 20-gallon long. I only have 6 of them outside waiting for me to do something with them. But those of you that pay attention know that Victoria has a new tank, and I haven't shot any footage of it yet because I want to make sure that she's here when I do it. And but where her old tank was, I'm going to do a 20-gallon long there, most likely. And I'm not going to tell you the rest of what I'm going to do with it, but that's what's going to happen. And I was going to use the Dragonstone in there until I realized that I really want to put it in the crystal tank. So, boom, there it is. Anybody out there that says the Iwagumi's got to have more than X amount of rocks, I don't care. There's a buttload of rocks in this tank. There's probably like 20-something rocks in this tank. I think four stones is bad luck in a tank, but there's I don't know, like probably 17 rocks in this tank. So chill. So just chill. Just calm down. Lots of rocks in here. It's not bad luck. But anyhow, I decided to put the Dragonstone in there to kind of accent the middle of the tank. You can see the bubbles coming off of that stone. It will do that for a little while. Not like weeks or anything, but just a couple of hours. And then after that, we're good to go. Any water quality conditions with pH, GH, KH, anything moving around, it's not a big deal because I do 24-hour CO2, so not going to have any big swings from putting the Dragonstone in the tank. Also quite a big system, and dumped about half the water on a water change after I did this, and added about an overabundance, probably 30 almond leaves to the sump, because I realized I hadn't been putting them in, so I guess I just decided to go overkill. But either way, the water will be buffered, and it's not a big deal. So I think it came out pretty smooth. Definitely some adjustments that I got to do, and I also got to escape the ends of the tank now, as they are not necessarily bare bones, but I'm not really appreciating how the right-hand side of the tank is going, with the little crypt forest that's going on over there. But I'm also going to be doing some lighting experiments coming up real soon. I'm going to be doing T5 on the left-hand side of the tank and LEDs on the right-hand side of the tank. And we can do a pretty reasonable comparison between the two. Oh, yeah. Click that subscribe button. Don't be a lazy punk and not hit the subscribe button. It's simple. It's easy. And also, while I'm talking about the subscribe button, I want to talk about the Amazon store. The Amazon store is an easy way to go through the Amazon portal, order some groceries or whatever the hell you were going to order anyhow, and Amazon will pay me a referral fee, which is not very much money, but you don't have to give me any money. Amazon will just give me some money. And who doesn't like that? Giant corporations are going to give me a couple of bucks. I think everybody likes that. It's hilarious. It's fantastic. It doesn't change the pricing on anything. And it just helps me out with a couple of dollars to help pay my electric bill. It's going to be the end of this super long video. Stay tuned tomorrow. All right. Later.